Hello everyone, Aventer here. In today's review, we'll focus on Parizhskaya Kommuna, also known as Sevastopol. First of all, I want to address the title of the video. By the last battleship, I mean that she and the Gungut class were the last battleships of the Soviet Union that were built, completed and launched, also being in service during World War I or both World Wars. Parizhskaya Kommuna, or PK in short, is a Gungut-class dreadnought built pre-World War I as Sevastopol. I will not focus a lot on her history before she became PK, as her service during World War I was mostly spent in port, repairing from self-inflicted damage or escorting main layers on Baltic Sea. Most noteworthy fact is how her name was changed from Sevastopol. In March of 1921, her crew joined the Kronstadt rebellion during the Russian Civil War. The rebellion was bloodily crushed, and after that she was renamed Parizhskaya Kommuna after the Paris Commune. Between 1933 and 1940, she was under constant reconstruction that was split into two stages, with the first one lasting from 1933 to 1938 and the second stage from 1939 to 1940. Unlike Japanese or British retrofits, those were more simplistic and no so interfering into the ship's hull. Those retrofits allowed to increase the fire rate to 2 rounds per minute, enlarged her superstructure and replaced her old boilers with 2 new oil ones. Most important changes were to underwater armor and the anti-air capability, with former one being new anti-torpedo bulges that additionally improved her stability, allowing Soviets to reinforce her deck armor, and the latter being of course one of the most selling point of PK in War Thunder, especially during her release date, as she was the first World War II battleship in the game. Her World War II service was almost as lacklusting and even shorter than her World War I one. She saw action from 1941 to only 1942, initially kept in reserve. She supplied the Soviets with her firepower, bombarding German and Romanian positions near Sevastopol and supporting Soviet landings on Crimean coast, and then going back to bombarding German positions south of Theodosia. After that, she returned to Poti in Georgia to have her main 12-inch guns relined and never saw service again. She was reclassified as a school battleship on 24th of July 1954 and stricken on 17th of February 1956. She was scrapped at Sevastopol, which is ironic because it coincides with her first name, in 1956 to 1957. In War Thunder, she is the top tier of Soviet blue water tech tree besides Kronstadt, sitting at BR 7.0. In-game she is in her 1941 state after the second phase of modernization. She comes equipped with 12 12-inch main guns, 16 120mm secondary guns in casemates, and 34 AA guns split into 6 76mm, 16 37mm, and 12 12.7mm heavy machine guns. It sounds like a lot, but in reality its output is just enough to face other battleships. The most noteworthy fact about her is the accuracy of the guns. Those 12-inch pre-World War I guns are one of the most accurate guns found on capital ships in the game, although that's where my praises about those guns end. Ammunition is your standard selection of HE, SAP and AP, although you most likely will be using exclusively a mix of SAP with HE. AP doesn't deal enough damage either by overpenning or not penetrating armor of enemy vessels. Other shells are good, but that's given considering the state of damage model in-game that favors highly HE spam. Another noteworthy fact is that in real life her guns weren't as accurate and the shells were even more underperforming due to bad engineering and not so good maintenance of those guns. That's really something that you might take into consideration while thinking, why are those guns so good? Were they like this in real life? That's how Gaijin modeled them? No, they were not. So maybe if the guns are not so great, then might it be that she's really good at taking hits and helping the team by tanking damage and allowing for teammates to counterattack? No. Although armor might seem good, in most cases you're worse than Ikoma with her thin armor belt. What contributes to that is the weak upper armor part that is only 125mm thick, which is enough for upper belt, but this is the part that extends above waterline, as your main armor belt sits well below waterline, giving you both advantage of the low waterline silhouette while also allowing your enemies that aim above to penetrate you with relative ease. The crew placement doesn't help the case too, as most of them are in easy to destroy compartments. Even with over 1700 of crewmen, if you have to constantly replace them on your not so protected AA guns and low protected modules, this number will quickly dwindle than you might think. In terms of mobility, you have no mobility, which is not surprising given that she's a dreadnought built before World War I. The additional protection from modernization also slowed her down, making her even less agile. That's a case for almost all World War I battleships in the game, so I won't berate PK for that solely. All in all, I'd suggest playing PK as a bloaty and not really agile World War I battlecruiser such as HMS Invincible, and circle around islands and far away from combat to at least try to avoid attention from enemy cruisers like Helena or Mogami and almost every enemy battleship and battlecruiser. You're sitting low, but this is your disadvantage this time. Use SAP to damage cruisers and AP only if necessary. If not, then use HE against battleships, as this turns out to deal better damage to their crews than trying to penetrate their armor with AP or attack their superstructure. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, consider leaving a like and maybe hitting the subscribe button to get notified about my other content, and if not, then leave a dislike, and why the hell not? Leave a comment saying what should I improve or what you didn't like about my videos. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day, night, evening or an afternoon wherever you are. This was Aventer, out.